Hey everybody, it's James Chen.
And I'm UltraDavid, here to talk to you about week number 5 of the Street Fighter League.
And here for this week, we started off with Team Storm, which of course is Idom, Classical, and Samurai, going up against Team Gale, Do, Shine, and Rob TV.
The ban phase was very predictable. Everybody wants to ban Shine's Ibuki. Everybody wants to get rid of Idom's Laura.
Yeah, I mean, look, Idom's never gonna get to play Laura, but
well, maybe let's get into this a little bit here. So the order was also maybe a little predictable. Classico, Idom, Samurai on Anchor, I think makes a lot of sense. Shine, Rob TV, and Do, also kind of similar.
Yeah, Samurai had the reverse OCV last week, so he's clearly the anchor here, so.
Makes a lot of sense. In the matches, Shine's Jury versus Classico's Jurian, I mean, it was good. It was a good match.
It was a really close match.
But win by Shine.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely, again, a couple of weird drops from Classico here and there, so I think it's just the nerves probably getting to him.
You might be right about
bit.
that, yeah. Then Rob TV's Karen versus Idom's Birdie. You know, pretty good win by Rob TV, of course, versus Idom's non-existent secondary.
Rob has been looking amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been looking very, very, very strong, especially for being picked last. So,
that's right, that's right. And then you had the Battle of the Anchors, which was Samurai Zakuma versus Du's G. It was a close one, but that said, Du's G maybe looks a little off. Some of the combo routes were not exactly there.
He looked rusty. I don't know. There was something about it that I felt like he had a few mistakes here and a few missed opportunities.
And then after that, it was all Samurai. It was Samurai beating Shine's Jury, and it was Samurai beating Rob TV's Karen to close out the OCV.
Yeah, again, last week I mentioned how his footsies looked immaculate. Again, just pay attention to the footsies, and I felt like against Rob TV, he was really starting to kind of assert himself.
Like almost starting to toy with the opponent, showing off maybe is a better way to put it. And he in fact did say in the interview afterward that he did want to send a message.
Yes.
So when he won, it wasn't just that he won, it was, look, I'm gonna do a random DP here, you're gonna hold it. I'm gonna wiggle my stick back and forth and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Like it was a message for sure.
Right now, Just a Kid, we said after the first 2 weeks was the MVP, but now I think Samurai.
You might
clearly
be right.
the MVP. Clearly
You might be right,
MVP.
yep. And what's interesting too is that this may give other teams pause now. So do you ban Samurai Zakuma maybe? Because everybody's been banning Laura, as we said. Now with 2 reverse OCVs, Akuma's one of the best characters in the game. Laura is fine, but is not one of the best.
Idom was confident that they were going to keep banning Laura, and in fact, on social media, I saw a bunch of these guys saying, we're still banning Laura. So you know what? Even though I think Samurai built the case, I think Idom's never going to play Laura.
I think you're probably right about that. Yeah, exactly. Look, Do is doing a great job as captain. I like that he's giving advice to his teammates. He did lose today, but everybody lost today versus Samurai. So, I mean, the team did a good job. It's just that Samurai was on.
It's clearly a threat for the rest of these weeks.
The second battle of this week was between Psycho, which is Toy, Just a Kid, and Chakotay, versus Inferno, which is Punk, JB, and Broly Legs.
Yeah, and the band started off as we expected. Psycho, you know, they've got their Bison band, you know, from Toy. Although, Punk did kind of talk about banning Just a Kid. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. And then on the Inferno side, JB got banned again, which we felt like was the right choice to make.
I highly agree with that, yeah. If you can at least get 2 games for yourself, game differential is a big part of this thing in case teams are tied in terms of the overall wins. So getting those 2 games, I think, is really, really helpful at least.
And giving you 3 chances to beat Punk.
Exactly right, yeah. So the order for Psycho was Chakotay first, then Toy, Just a Kid on Anchor.
Yeah, last week they put Just a Kid second. We thought he should go Anchor, and that's what they did.
Indeed. And on the other side, it was Broly, JB, and Punk. So now Punk is on Anchor. But that's the opposite of what they did before.
Right, which is interesting. Last week, Punk put himself first. So, I don't know, there's something funny going on here. And like I said, we'll get into that in just a little bit.
In terms of the matches, the first one up was Chakotay versus Broly Legs. You know, pretty strong win by Tay.
Yeah, and again, I'm feeling... You know, I feel bad for Broly Legs right now. He has not been able to show what he's capable of. We talked a little bit about nerves in the last set. I feel like nerves are really hitting Broly Legs hard here. He's been playing well, just hasn't been able to close it out.
That's right. Then you had the battle of the secondaries between Toy's Birdie and JB's Nash, actually, which is very interesting to see. You know, a little bit sloppy on both sides. but Toy ended up getting the win, and during that match, he went over to JB's side and just, casually asked him, hey, so what do you think you're doing wrong? What could you do better? Starting the trash talk.
Yeah, so he started some trash talk here, as, he's been prone to show at this point in time. With Punk on the other side, maybe that wasn't such a great idea.
Right, I don't know. So then Punk versus Just a Kid, and these are the two anchors. Just a Kid almost won game 1, but then strong comeback by Punk. And Punk began the talk. Look,
and not only that though, but what's interesting to me is that he busted out his main character.
Right.
So he's been using Cammy and Colleen and, just dabbling around here. I don't know, there's a lot of respect to Just a Kid. He said he wanted to ban him, he put himself last, and then he pulled out his main.
It was the real stuff.
Yeah,
you're right, he definitely respects him, but did win. Then Punk versus Chakotay, a stronger victory, but what I really liked, was hilarious in this, was when Punk at the very end called out what he was gonna do. Low forward super, came like 5 seconds later.
Yeah, exactly. And shout outs, of course, to the crew for keeping their mics on during these matches. So
that was great. And then to round it out, in a very close match, actually, Toy's Birdie versus Punk's Karen. Punk did come out on top, but Toy had 2 match points.
Was it 2 or 3? I think
it might have been 3. Yeah, it was strong.
Because it went down to the very last round.
You're right, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, but dude, Punk was even happy at the end because it was that close. Yeah. It's a bad matchup, but I feel like genuinely Punk was like a little nervous because he was like probably thinking to himself, man, if I lose the Toy, I'm never going to hear the end of this. So, but Toy, after he lost, looked really upset. Because like a lot of words out of his mouth, but after he lost, it was just silence.
You're right, dude. He did seem like it was bad news for him. That was not the best for him, but he and Chakotay earlier had won their first matches of Street Fighter League. So, that's at least good for them. They end up with 2 games won. Toy did try to counter that trash talk, but like we said, didn't seem like it worked out that well.
Look, you can't, when you're the best player in the world, how do you trash talk him?
What do you counter him with, right? Ultimately, you have to beat him in the game to back it up, and nobody's doing that.
Right, if he says, I'm gonna cook you, you're like, yeah.
You get out the little baster and put it right on yourself, right? You expect to get it. He's looking extremely strong. You were talking earlier about Samurai maybe being MVP. You don't think Punk?
Look, Punk is the best in the world. We all expect that. So I'm putting Samurai as the MVP because he is definitely stepping up and showing his stuff. Punk, he's just doing what we expected.
All right, fair enough. So it ends up being 3-2 in favor of Inferno, which means that Inferno is undefeated as we move forward.
And we close it out with Team Frost, which was Nephew, Up to Snuff, and Dual Kevin versus Team Spirit, comprised of Justin, Psycho, and Brian F.
Interesting bans here. There was actually a ban against Boxer out of Frost in order to get rid of Brian F's Balrog. Yeah. Now, this is something we had suggested before, and I'm glad to finally see it. I think that's a real smart play.
Yeah, just take out one of those players. And then on the other side, Spirit, I had talked about last week, maybe Dual Kevin is the one to ban now because Nephews obviously look strong with both G and Colleen. And so maybe Justin heard me.
Maybe so.
He banned Dual Kevin this week. So
nice. Then the order, you had Dual Kevin, Nephew, and Up to Snuff for Frost, which ended up working out okay for them.
It was an interesting order, putting Nephew in the middle right there.
Right. And then Spirit had Justin, Brian F, Psycho, which actually was the opposite of what they did last week.
Interesting, and it was funny how it ended up with the 2 Nakalis at the end.
So in terms of the matches, you had Kevin starting out with G versus Justin's Minot. I like the character pick, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, because you've said that you feel like G beats Minot. Right?
I do indeed feel that way. So as if Kevin could just win one match, that was all he really needed to do when your character's banned. If you can win one, that's great.
Yeah.
But he couldn't do that.
Yeah, look, Justin's defense, obviously so strong. That's where G thrives, is on that offense. But Justin defense.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Rock solid.
You had Nephew Colleen versus Brian F. Abigail. This is the character that Brian F. brought in terms of a secondary.
Yeah, I've seen him play it on stream before. He's used it, but
it wasn't quite there, unfortunately.
Didn't work out.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
Then, very interesting to see a character mirror match between Up to Snuff and Psycho, both using Nikali.
Yeah, I had mentioned that I really love Up to Snuff's movement with Nikali. Very dash heavy, but I feel like Psycho actually took advantage of that. He's a very careful player, more precise player. And there was a couple of times that he just waited for Up to Snuff to forward dash and just met him with an attack and comboed him.
So then it was on Nephew, and Nephew had to beat Justin's Menat, which he did, but Justin actually kept it close.
Yeah.
He just had a couple of drops. He went for resets when maybe he didn't need to.
Yeah, and Nephew called out those resets. He teched a bunch of throws, so yeah.
Indeed.
And that's just showing how strong Nephew is with Colleen, able 100%. To take it over Justin.
100%. And then Nephew versus Psycho. Look, not a blow up, but still a convincing win by Nephew.
Yeah, it was very, very close, but Nephew pulls it out again for his team, getting all 3 wins. And it's interesting because the 2 weeks that they have won, it was Nephew taking out the entire team. And Dual Kevin even, gave him props for that and said, if I can't get the win, then I'm going to be the cheerleader. I'm going to be the analyst. And we had talked about how much we enjoyed his analytical standpoint, his role. And it, for him to even mention it, I thought that was really cool.
How analytical of him. Yeah. It was beautiful. Look, Nephew is such a strong player with 2 different characters. I wouldn't be surprised to see more people ban Rashid moving forward because it's just so hard to ban against Nephew.
Yeah, so you're taking out basically you're forcing Nephew to go for the OCV.
Right, exactly right. And on Spirit's side, we expected a lot out of this team. It's very strong. And while they have had close matches, this one last week 3-2s,
both times,
right? Both times, they still end up with another loss overall.
Yeah, I mean, last week they were 1 round away, the crazy comeback from Punk, but, not doing as well as we thought, but there's a lot more weeks coming up, so they have some time to right this ship.
So after another week, if you check the standings, you see that Inferno, undefeated, on the top, 4-0. Punk is the best in the world. I don't care if that team is Punk, UltraDavid, and James Chen. It would be up there still.
Yeah, exactly. In second place now, storming through the rankings here. They were 0-2, but thanks to Samurai with 2 OCVs here, has vaulted themselves into second place.
Very cool to see. You have Gale and Frost.
Also at 2-2, yeah.
That's right. And then bringing up the rear, Spirit, Psycho, both 1-3. Again, Spirit, we're looking for more from them.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, they've got 6 more weeks to try to improve their record, and it's got to start now. Otherwise, they're going to build themselves an insurmountable hole here.
Well, make sure that you catch the Street Fighter League. It happens each Thursday. You can catch it on twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters and also youtube.com/Capcom Fighters.
All right, see you guys next week.